given that someone in Hezbollah is now saying they're open to a ceasefire, are the Israelis calling for a ceasefire?
No, they're not.
And so we know that you've said repeatedly it takes two to tango when it comes to ceasefire. Is this not a good starting point? That, as you say, Hezbollah is being degraded. At what point is it significantly degraded enough for the US to say, okay, enough is enough? We've got something to start off with here. Like, are you talking about supporting Israel to the point of removing Hezbollah entirely? There's got to be some endpoint in which you guys are working with, and if that's something you can't talk to us about now, then okay. But we're going to keep asking you.
I fully understand, and I will offer you assessments about where things stand on the ground at any given moment, and that ultimately impacts, of course, where we will be. Though it doesn't change our long-term policy that we want to see. It may impact what we want to see happen on any given day, but our long-term policy remains the same. Our long-term policy is we want to see 1701 fully implemented, as I said, in response to Simon's question.
Who makes that move first?
So it's not a question of first. Ultimately, all the parties would have to come together, and the United States would look to play a role in that, as we would look to other partners in the region and around the world. And those are the conversations we've been having with our partners in the region and around the world over the past few days, which is how you get to full implementation of 1701. What's happening right now is, what's happening right now is Israel is significantly degrading in some ways Hezbollah's military capabilities. And I think the fact that they came out and called for a ceasefire today shows that Hezbollah knows it's on the back foot, knows its capabilities are being degraded. And so the reason it's hard to answer the question is Hezbollah calling for a ceasefire, or is Hezbollah calling for a ceasefire and agreeing to pull back beyond the Litani River, which is something that they haven't said that they would do? That would be full implementation of 1701. And then the second question is, are they actually going to implement it, and can the world trust, given the fact they've been degraded and UNIFIL and the LAF are in a position to enforce that Security Council resolution, that everyone can move forward with confidence?
But if you don't, this is why I asked about the Israelis, that Hezbollah, they're not going to, it seems to me like they're not going to offer to do all of that if they don't see that there's, like you've been talking about with the other conflict in Gaza, that there's a political will. There is no will on the Israeli side to stop right now. And it appears that they have the support of the US to keep going until they degrade Hezbollah to a point of, to what point? That's why that question is important. So we've been asking about a red line, at what point? And we've even been asking about bombing of Beirut. At what point is there a point where you can...
So we are having very direct conversations with the government of Israel about the shape and the nature and the ultimate scope of that campaign. But I also think it's not always productive for us to come out and talk about the full details of those conversations in a public forum. They're ongoing, and we've made clear to them what we want to see the ultimate resolution, which is a diplomatic one with 1701 fully implemented. How we get there is something that we're in conversation with them about.
So you think that calling for a ceasefire back on September 26th was short-sighted, premature, 25th? Short-sighted, premature, not a smart move? I'm
not going to characterize it other than it was the conclusion of the United States and its partners around the world that was a path forward at the time. The situation on the ground has changed, but ultimately it doesn't change that we want to get to a diplomatic resolution.
Well, fair enough, but it changed after you did.
Correct, and that's why.
Did it. And so you don't think it was a mistake to propose that?
No.
Push it?
No.
Okay.